Hello there, Michelle. Okay, let's have a look at your work. Sorry for the delay with this one. We responded to the earliest one, or the latest one. But anyway, back on track. Unfortunately, due to a variety of influences, the basic principles of a democratic state has been changed worldwide. Some believe, what could we say instead of some? Economists, experts, historians, believe that one of the major influences, well done for using one of the major influences, is a very useful structure. It's caused by the capital markets worldwide, which results in a loss of power for the voter, while this is the basic pillar of democracy. Okay, same as I said before, loss of power for the voter, full stop. That's enough. Okay, it's a very long sentence, and up to this point it was grammatically perfect. Okay, so end the sentence there, full stop, and then it can just delete this. But if you do want to use while, perhaps study it in a little bit more detail, and perhaps just limit it to like one sentence with one clause, and while would be the clause. Okay, partially agree with this statement, and will explain my view in this essay. Okay, this is what I said before. This is an empty sentence. You're best having sentences that are specific and relevant to this topic, because this sentence could be put into an essay about nuclear energy, and be semi-relevant, just like it's semi-relevant here. But we don't want semi-relevant, we want entirely relevant. Okay? We want to make every sentence do a specific job. And this sentence should basically indicate what's coming next, okay? And it does do this, but in a very generic way, so just make it specific to the essay. I partly agree with the statement about about the deterioration of political values, and I explain my view in this essay using examples from European history and multinationals. Okay, something like that. Firstly, the formation of larger corporations of nations. Okay, large cooperations of nations induce the involvement of different parties from a range of countries with various views and objectives. That's very vague. What do you mean, formation of larger cooperations of nations? For example, the European Union, comma. Often, hedging, often induce the involvement of different parties from a range of countries. Okay, it's still very vague. Okay, which different parties are we talking about? Are we talking about citizens, governments, bureaucrats? Every local state wants to benefit from the cooperation. Okay, so are we talking about nation states? Are we talking about states within countries? You know, like the federal, Germany with the federal system, different states. England's got counties, so it needs to be a bit more specific. So every local state wants to benefit. Also in hedging, usually every local state wants to benefit from cooperation. So the agreement on solutions regarding global problems involves large discussions, singular plural, okay, between different nations in which the voice of the local voter might be forgotten. Okay, so once again, a very long sentence needs to be broken up just to slow down the delivery of information, make it easier to read. For example, in European history, the debate about the funds to Greece in the local economic crisis was a major issue in which a lot of countries did not agree, but an agreement was forced. Okay, so here we can't use contractions. And also it did not agree, simple past. Be careful there. Put that on your error list. Although many European citizens okay, we've done that. Though many European citizens did not agree with the view of their own delegates, their voice were not heard by any local government. Therefore, the influence of the voter can be suppressed in terms of significant global problems. Okay, fair enough. I get the gist of the argument, but I don't want to be left with getting the rough idea. I need it to be very explicit. Okay? So how can we make this? Okay, so this, is this a distraction? Okay, is this a distraction from the argument? Because it would be easier to say that the Greeks perhaps didn't agree with it being forced. Okay? And also look at this, we've got the same argument twice. In this first sentence, you're talking about the countries not agreeing, then you're talking about the citizens not agreeing. So it's kind of like a bit confusing. If we'd have put something like, furthermore, many European citizens did not agree with the view of their own delegates, or even just put, furthermore, many Europeans did not agree with this plan, the voices were not heard by any local government. Can you see? Because we've got repetition here and repetition there. The same point. Okay? So try and reorganize your sentences. This is where having a look at the sentence guide would be much better. Therefore, the influence of the voter can be suppressed in terms of significant global problems. Okay, not too bad. Okay, so the conclusion was better, but we do need to just tidy it up a little bit. Okay? Now, the good thing is, Michelle, you've got English skills, very good English skills. We need to work on the exam skills. Yeah? And those are much easier, faster to acquire if and when you watch the tutorials. Okay, it's much easier and quicker to apply those and learn those than it is to learn language skills. So it's good, it's a good sign. Secondly, since the impact of capital might not be underestimated, large companies have a major influence on decision-making of local governments, especially in economic issues that certain countries dealing with. Okay, for instance, if a multinational located in a certain area in the country wants to enhance their production, this can have a large impact on the local flora, on the local population maybe. Flora is flowers and plants, so I don't think we need that. Economic benefits have a larger weight in regards to the decision than the environmental impact of this. Okay, as a consequence, another time the opinion of an electorate might be inferior to the economic benefits for the country. Okay, not too bad, but we need to practice, and we need to develop the skill of writing in a more concise way. Okay? Okay, so look, I'll just give you a brief class. For instance, if a multinational located in a country, if a multinational wants, just delete all this because it's not relevant to the argument. Okay? For instance, if a multinational wanted, conditional, wants to enhance their production. Okay, for instance, if a multinational wanted to expand the car production, or automobile production, it might have large economic benefits to the detriment of the environment. Full stop. And then we talk about decision making. Okay. As a consequence, another time the opinion of an electorate might be inferior to the economic benefits for the country. Good. So the conclusion was okay. We just needed to tidy up the body paragraph. Again, same issue as before. So the next essay you write, take your time. Okay, don't worry about the time limit. Take your time writing it, review it, and just try and look for redundancy. Okay, this is a very good example of redundancy. And this is taught in the online course as well. So take your time, go through the course. Lots of beneficial information there for you. In conclusion, while the loss of the influence of the voters on a democratic state can be partially explained by the globalization of the capital markets. Okay, so we've got a clause here. You need to research this. So we delete this. I believe that the impact of cooperating nations with different objectives are to blame of the loosening of the deterioration of democratic power. I think would be a better way to finish there. Okay, so not too bad, not too bad. We just need to tidy it up. And thoroughly study how to use this conjunction. The two pie charts show the distribution of vehicle ownership, comparing England and Scotland in 1995. Good. The line graph below shows the sales rates of one specific brand, Volkswagen, from 1990 to 1998 in England and Scotland. Good. Overall, the major proportion of car owners bought their car in Scotland, in contrast to England, where the amount of cars bought or leased is similar. Good. Volkswagen is less popular in England than in Scotland, where a larger average sales was seen during the 8-year period, although this dissimilarity was reduced in the last 2 years of the survey. Good. The majority of the drivers in Scotland bought their car with a percentage of... Okay, the majority, brackets 65%, yeah? But only 1/5 of the persons shared their car and only 15% leased a vehicle. Okay, we don't need has there, that's the wrong tense. Also, if we're using numbers, use numbers for the whole sentence. Don't mix it with fractions. Likewise, if we're using fractions, use fractions for the entire sentence. In contrast, car ownership in England has a dissimilar pattern. So we've already used dissimilar. What could we use instead? With the majority of the cars bought or leased, with 35 and 45% respectively. Good. Only a small proportion shared a vehicle, 25%. Okay, 1919, most of the Volkswagens were sold in Scotland. The sales rate of just above 180,000. The sales volume, not a rate. In the meantime, in England, only half of the numbers of the cars were sold. Only half of that number of cars were sold. The next brackets, 90,000. Over the next years, there was a decrease in sales in general until 1997, where there was a peak in selling cars to nearly 300,000. Full stop, or comma. A similar number of cars bought in England. Okay, comma, with a similar number of cars being bought in England and Scotland. The same trend was seen in 1988. Good. Okay, good work there, Michelle. So you're doing great. What I want you to do now is rewrite these essays, both of them, according to the video that I sent you. Okay, make a note of all the mistakes, put down the mistakes on the piece of paper, and type them up. That's your error list. Every time you finish an essay, I want you to check it for those mistakes that you've made previously. Okay, then write 2 new essays, a task 1 and a task 2, and check them for the mistakes that you made previously. Okay, and then send it all together to me in one email. All right, you're doing great. Let's keep on improving.